Look, another story that was covered, and I'll just read the coverage from the Post of this story in a certain way, was another, and there've been a few of these recently, and I'm watching them with interest because it's lining up with a prediction I made at the start of the year saying climate change was going to be the big loser this year, or the cult of climate change. Here's a story from the Post yesterday. Large KiwiSaver schemes and 66 New Zealand exchange share market listed companies will no longer be required to make annual climate-related disclosures in the latest policy move by a government that has been accused of waging war on nature. Commerce and Consumer Affairs Minister Scott Simpson said the move was designed to support business growth in New Zealand's capital markets. Mandatory climate reporting, and that's on your emissions and what you're doing to save the planet. They were introduced in 2020 under a Labour government, and it was intended to force large companies to make annual disclosures to tell investors about the risks climate change posed to their businesses and how they plan to manage and mitigate them. It was Marxist claptrap, really. Nearly 170 large managed investment schemes and listed companies were covered by the law. But those businesses have complained, and some fund managers said the reporting laws imposed a heavy cost on them and were basically virtue signalling bullshit. That I put that bit in. That wasn't in the Post story. So companies that no longer have to report would include Sky City, Fonterra's Shareholders Fund, Sanford, Sinlay Milk, the Warehouse Group, and Michael Hill Jewellers. It would drop the numbers of entities mandated by the law to make climate-related disclosures from 104 to 76. Here to talk about the impact of this and the trend that we are seeing is Mark Cameron, ex-Rural Party spokesman. Mark, for the cultists of climate change, the hits just keep on coming, don't they?
Oh, good morning, Sean. How bloody good is it, really? I mean, the middle New Zealand is finally having its say. And I think politicians around the country have realised, and so by virtue, policy is being changed to amend what was otherwise just the radical left destroying the country from within. I mean, it's madness. The green mantra is coming to an end, and it's a good thing. We're celebrating this move by the government. I'll just make one observation. I think it should go all the way and be rid of the whole lot.
Well, that really was the question I was going to ask, Mark. Why have these 76 poor buggers who still have to do it? Because I think it's the logic of getting rid of the current tranche is that it's just a virtue signal and it's a waste of money and it's holding the economy back.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the holdover of a Dune era cultism, really. We're all very good if we do this thing called climate change wokery, and somehow that we're a great global citizen. And this is the businesses I'm talking about. At the end of the day, we're an economy, as I've discussed with you before, Sean, with no money. So this is a great thing. I think the government is genuinely trying to engage forward so we support business growth. I just go back to my previous remarks. If we really care about growing the economy for everyday Kiwis, so they pay a bit of tax, raise a family and have a good life, be rid of it all. I mean, let's go out and celebrate being Kiwis. We don't need to stand up on the global stage and say we're great, wonderful global citizens if we, sell ourselves into poverty for this climate wokery. I think it should all be gone. Go back to what is the cost, what are the benefits, and if the benefits don't outweigh the costs, we shouldn't bloody do it.
Yeah, look, is it possible, and I know that we keep on getting told if we just get rid of net zero and the Paris Accord, we won't be able to sell anyone anything, we'll be international pariahs. Aren't we essentially doing that just one bite of the elephant at a time, though?
Very potentially. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure there will be those countries and jurisdictions around the world that make decisions that are quite different from our own, and that's their prerogative. But I think at the bottom of the world where we are as a trading nation, there might be some repercussions for our new climate attitude. But I think we've just got to support Middle New Zealand. I really do believe that we need to restore some business confidence, some hope. I think the silent majority is not silent anymore. We've all had a gutsful of being told if we don't do all these things, we're bad citizens. Well, rubbish. I mean, the Ardern era government was doing this kind of stuff during the middle of a pandemic. Well, gracious me, how was it ever going to be a good thing? And I think to that point, New Zealanders and New Zealand businesses have now realised in the global stage there's much better things that we can be doing, to support ourselves. And that's growing the bloody economy, which has suffered so terribly.
Yeah. Mark, while I've got you here as rural spokesman, we've seen a few politicians express their views on various deals involving dairy brands and Fonterra. Do you have views on that?
Yes, I do. I think it's ultimately the decision of shareholders. I'm of the belief, as is most of the people I work with, that, self-determination and property rights and all of those kind of things are very much core ACT values. And I maintain it's the right of no politician to tell a shareholder what he or she does with their private investment strategy and their assets. And in this instance, because they happen to be shareholders of New Zealand's largest dairy company, that is doing some things that you might say are restructuring by nature and selling off iconic brands that they have ultimately created. Shouldn't it be the decision and the decision of the shareholders that supply them?
So should Winston shut up on this?
Well, he's entitled to his opinion and we're entitled to ours. But I think ultimately the shareholders will have their say.
All right, but okay, you're not backing Winston's position on this.
No, I certainly wouldn't. I don't think it adds any value.
Yeah. Hey, what is the next nail in the coffin of the climate cult, do you think? And have you been told that there's any more regulation being changed or altered?